Hello, everyone, and welcome to my show, Tune In with Talya. I hope everyone is doing well out there. It is so nice to be here tonight and welcome a very special guest. He's a good friend of mine. We go back over 20 years, our friendship. He's an incredibly talented musician, an amazing trumpet player, composer, performer, just a wonderful guy, a wonderful human being, and I'd like to welcome Omar Latif. So thank you, Omar, for being here.
Great to be here, Talya. Tali, as I know you, of course. How are
Call
you?
me Tally. That feels like way back old.
That's right. That's right. Everyone, I've known Talia for a very long time. But so if I call her Talia, you have to excuse me. That's
Call
just,
me
I know.
Tally. So,
I sure will. So, all right.
so you are in Daytona, huh? You're Daytona.
Da- Daytona Beach, a little bit warmer than the rest of the nation right now. I know that there is a massive cold front going through everywhere except Florida. So I'm here. And a big part of the reason why I moved here some 15 plus years ago was just because of that reason. I had to get away from that
Yeah.
ice cold weather. So
Right. You had the Caribbean roots in you, yeah?
that's right. My mother is born and raised in the Bahamas. Of course, now she is um, very much, she's lived in America for over 40 years.
Mhm.
But I never got rid of that recessive gene. I mean, obviously not. It's not a gene, but hey, listen, I love the sunshine, and it's a part of me, and I will always come back here. That's
You can hear the beach, you said, the ocean from your
the
window.
ocean waves are right there, right there. I'm pointing in the direction of the ocean waves. It's beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So, obviously you all are more than welcome to make a visit. If you
I,
need an
I know
escape.
I'm going to be visiting you once this is.
I, yes, once obviously, clearly once this pandemic is over, so
Yes. Yes.
yes.
And I want to meet your beautiful family.
Yes, I need to meet yours as well. I've seen pictures, but I need to,
For sure. We're going to make that
yes,
happen.
of course. So
Good. So I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about you.
we'll do.
Um, Omar Latif is an educator through Volusia County Schools and a retired band leader for Carnival Corporation, home of the world's largest cruise line. He has also been a featured guest artist with the Rostov Russian International Jazz Festival, the Carnegie Hall Jazz Ensemble, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, the Moscow Chamber Orchestra, and has performed alongside well-known artists including Wynton Marsalis, Marcus Belgrave, Arturo Sandoval, John Faddis, James Carter, and Kathleen Battle, to name a select few. Omar is a graduate of both Yale University in 2005 and the Juilliard School in '03, and having received MA and BA degrees from both institutions respectively. And he currently resides in Daytona Beach, Florida, with his wife Barbara and his son Joshua Caleb. Very nice. So you and I met back at Juilliard
We did.
ago, and I remember we would just have these long talks in the dorm room about life, music. You would share all these, your favorite songs with me, ballads, and I would sing to you, and you give me, feedback on my voice, and we just talk about everything. We just
We
have
really did.
It was so fun, and we just stayed in touch ever since. But our friendship has always been just confiding in each other and just being there for each other, supporting each other through life's ups and downs. So I've really appreciate your friendship, and I feel so blessed that we've stayed in touch all these years.
Yes, it was an honor. You were always a lovely human being. I knew from the beginning. So um, you helped me through some times. I'm sure I've helped you through some. And I would have to say, everyone, in any industry, but we're going to, of course, speak to our industry, the music industry, needs to have a moral confidant. Because, of course, you have many professional contacts, but there are just certain things in life that require that you go beyond what you do professionally. So it's very good to have had, someone that I can confide in, and to also, just talk about things that were outside of, our industry. It's just good to have had that.
Yeah,
throughout the year. So I appreciate it from you too. Thank you.
yeah, of course. So you have quite the impressive background, and you've done a lot in your career up until now. And I just wanted to just ask you a few questions, really about your childhood and how it led up to how your life journey, how it led you to the career that you've established,
Let's do
and
it.
then talk about what you're doing these days. So let's start first talking about your childhood. Um, what was that your childhood like? Where did you grow up, and were your parents or siblings musical? Who are your influences, and who inspired you at a young age?
Well, let's start with some of the most basic um, things from my childhood. Um, my parents were both Christian ministers. Um, they were licensed and ordained back in the early 80s. So a lot of my roots came from the church. And that's how I got my early introduction into music. So a lot of Baptist roots, a lot of non-denominational. Of course, now the non-denominational roots will be known as contemporary Christian roots. So there was a lot of music that I was drawn to early. And then as time went along, my parents introduced me to a lot of my family members who were involved with some very prominent musicians that we knew. And of course, we studied in college throughout our years um, fairly early on. One example, of course, would be my brother, not my brother, my father's brother, my uncle Tommy. His name was Thomas Isaiah Butler. He was actually a, a musician with the Duke Ellington Orchestra at one point. He sang with them.
Oh,
So that's one connection that I had. He would have been a person that was also on some episodes of Sanford and Sons.
mm,
So he had been involved uh, early on as well. So that's one connection, I would say, one influence that I had within the family that um, inspired me to go into the direction that I needed to go. Um, but that's neither here nor there because my parents were not actually musicians. My mother, as of this year, actually will be retiring from Detroit Public Schools um, as an educator. She had her degree in biology, so science is her thing. She just loves science. Anything scientific, it could be biology, chemistry, physics, whatever. She's just all into that. So that was her thing. My father, who actually recently passed as of 2 months ago, like a little over 2 months ago, was in law enforcement and also had a big compassion for some of the more, some of the people who have special needs. I actually have a sister with special needs. And, so he was very passionate about that as well. So they were fairly involved in the community in many different ways. And we had good examples for parents who brought us along and gave us a very solid upbringing. But they wanted to make sure that we had a very nice way of life. They surrounded us around the best people they could surround us by. And what they tended to do was to find out what we were most interested in and try to surround us around the best people that they could, from where we lived. And in my area, of course, it was Detroit. So once they realized that I had an interest in music beyond the church, they got me involved with the Detroit Symphony. They got me involved with some of the jazz musicians there. My mom did a lot of research, in particular with some of the scholarship clubs that would fund students to become, to kind of move forward into their areas of expertise. So James Tatum had a foundation. He was very instrumental. The Kiwanis Club, the Lions Club, they were instrumental. Interlochen Arts Academy. They were obviously huge because I went to high school there and to music camp there. The Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp was another one. So I had been around music and surrounded around music for a very long time. And I thought that it was just it was very admirable when I look back in hindsight to see exactly what they really did. A lot of times when you reflect on it, you don't realize until, like I have a son now, as you might hear him sometimes in the back. But you don't realize in hindsight what they've actually done until we get to that point where you have your own kids and you start to see what you need to do. And when you see what they did to get you to where you are, you realize the blessings that you've had. So that's kind of in a nutshell what my childhood was like.
Sounds like you have just so much support and love, and everybody encouraging you to follow and pursue your dreams, which is a blessing. Huge.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And and I know you recently went through a loss, a large, horrible. I'm so sorry that you lost your father.
Yeah. The only thing I would tell people, I won't talk about it too much, but the only thing I would say is to just make sure if your parents are still here, or, spend as much time with them as you can while they're here, because once they're gone, they're gone. So, but my dad was really, really, really wonderful, and his legacy, I'll make sure that he stays alive through, of course, my family. Joshua, or Yoshi is what we call him. Yoshi had the privilege of spending his first year of life, which was my father's last year of his life. So, and he still remembers him vividly. If I show him a picture now, he will, make funny noises and do the thing that his grandfather did with him. He still does that. So, so make sure that you spend your time with them, and in particular if you have kids, because in some way they're going to have an impact, in particular if you have good family upbringing.
Yes. And I met your father. I remember he was a beautiful man.
Really Thank you.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit how you chose the trumpet. Going back to that, how did you choose that instrument? And did you always want to play a certain style of music? Was it classical, jazz? I know they put you into they kind of exposed your parents to many, many things as a child. Did you have something in your heart, a particular style or of music that you wanted to pursue professionally when you were little?
The biggest thing I wanted to do, because I didn't have a genre or style, and even today I don't have a specific style or genre that I wanted to do, but I was very big in being an advocate or mentoring. I can't even remember in middle school, there would be times where the music teacher, who is still a very sound mentor of mine, Mr. Willie J. McAllister, Mr. Mac as we called him, if he was late coming to music class, I would take the baton and start the warm-ups. I just did it. It was just fun. I enjoyed that kind of stuff. And I would say that due to that, I kind of started to find my niche early, just because that was innate. So trumpet came by inspiration, actually. I'm gonna backtrack for a moment. When I was 5 years of age, there was a show called Star Search. We know it as American Idol and The Voice these days, but Star Search was the show back then with Ed McMahon. And he would have people on every week, and whoever would win would, advance or win a prize or whatever. I don't exactly remember how the structure of the show was because I was young, but I remember just enjoying watching the talent that would come. But this one day they had a trumpet player who just slaughtered this song. I mean, just destroyed it. And I remember just being so enthralled by the musicianship. And fast forward 4 years later to when I was about 9 years of age, we were getting ready to pick our instruments from the elementary and middle school I attended. At the time, it was called Faith Christian Academy. It's since, been, it no longer exists, but it was a good school at the time. And my music mentor, who eventually became the director of fine arts for Detroit Public Schools, Mr. Mack, had us all signing contracts to pick the instrument that we were going to stick with. So I had already signed my contract for clarinet because it just looked like it was a fun instrument to play, until I saw someone bring out a cornet. And I looked at the cornet and I remembered that guy from Star Search.
Oh, yeah.
And by hunch, I changed my mind immediately. I said, no, this is the one I want to play.
Wow.
And at first, Mr. Mack gave me a hard time and said, no, you've already signed your contract. I said, well, we need to rip the contract. I'm not interested in playing this instrument. I want to play this one.
That was
it. So, and, we tore it up, and he gave me this. He said, you can't sign any other instruments after that. I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to play this one. And the rest is history.
Awesome. And you've done so many cool things with that instrument.
I know, right?
I mean, so tell us like some of the things that you've done in your career that just stand out before we go on to the next thing. I just want to hear a little bit about what you did before the pandemic started, just so we get a feel for,
Yeah, of course, a feel for where, of course, what career changes I've had to make up to this point, which I understand. When I worked for Carnival Corporation, I had my own band and traveled for 13 years. And that band, of course, which was really a pool of musicians that contracted individually through the corporation. We had a pool of about 450 people. I was one of the music directors that got our groups together and did a lot of top 40s for most every genre of music. I did the arrangements, did the rehearsing, you name it. And depending on where we were with respect to the demographics was what I would choose to do. And the parties, the shows, so on and so forth, whatever needed to be done, scheduling even, we got the flow of that, of those ships or other venues, solid so that we could entertain people. So I, for 13 years, performed with my group and collaborated with many other groups about 3 to 4 hours a night, 6 days a week. So we were going hard, and I loved doing it. Actually, one of the shirts that I'm wearing, I love Jimi Hendrix. I'm a big fan of him. But it was what I liked about it in particular was that I was always a free spirit musically. So I just enjoyed learning about the types of music people like to listen to. At Juilliard and at Yale, no disrespect, I love playing classical music. I love playing jazz music. And I am still very involved in that. But it's just something about learning about the innovators that are producing music now. I can remember my Motown set in particular, and doing things by the Supremes. I know we just lost Mary Wilson, and the Temptations, and the Jackson Five. We could go down the list. I can remember just putting together a set of that, and the Motown Hour, which we all had our classy Motown suits, and of course the female singer had her, diva style Diana Ross dress, and would go on the stage and just hit them hard with about 30 to 40 songs for a good 2 hours. And to just watch that floor just electrify for 2 hours was one of the most wonderful and exhilarating experiences of my life, because I saw what it was really about. I got the understanding and the feeling that people needed to connect with where their roots were. And if you were from Detroit like me, that was a big thing. I performed in a salsa band for 3 years from Puerto Rico.
Do you also dance salsa? Do you also dance?
I got a little step, I gotta, I enjoyed doing it. Merengues, I played a lot of those, puntas, cumbias, bachatas, I did all of those. So I, of course, and for me, I really liked getting into the music so much that I didn't want people to get the feeling that that's not, that I didn't understand the music. Right. So a big compliment for me would always be after finishing a salsa set, for example, when people would speak to me in Spanish and not in English. And then I would answer them in English, and they would always say that they thought that I was from the Dominican Republic. That to me was the highest form of a compliment, because for me, I it was about making sure that they got the most authentic music, possible. Wow. So, and that drove me for years. So, it also taught me how to play, to build my lead chops. It's a big thing for trumpet players. Trumpet players love to listen to players who can really scream on the horn, as they would say. If you can play higher, louder, and faster, that's great for them. You know what I mean? So, I never wanted to be the obnoxious type of player, but when you get to the point where the music allows for you to do that, and the moment comes and you just jump into it, it's, again, you've heard me use the word, it's electrifying, it's exhilarating. So yes, so but that's what I did. At one point I lived in Australia for 1 year. That was a wonderful year for me, because I learned about that region of the world, and what is important to that region as well. So some areas that I would like to visit, even though I have visited over 70 nations, I would like to see the Asian side, because I didn't get the chance to see China or Japan. But I saw pretty much all of Europe, and I got a good taste of Africa. Africa was, just beautiful. And of course, I got a chance to, of course, visit my homeland. Canada is great. Mexico is wonderful. Central America. So, I got a chance to really look. That was important. Yeah. So
living on the ocean.
Yeah, living on the ocean helped me to do that. So, we could, like I said, there's a lot more stories there.
Yeah.
But that was a big part of my career, was just, of course, besides the travel, learning about what people like, and giving them the best musical product that I could give them.
Getting
Uh,
into the cultures and the foods.
yes, the foods, all that good stuff.
Oh, the foods. I know you love food.
The wines, you know.
You're a good cook.
Yeah,
I know you are.
I got a little chef in me, like
Mhm.
a little flavor,
Yeah.
spices here and there. Yeah.
Love to
So
hear about that.
yeah, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, but let's hear what happened. So the pandemic hit about almost,
Yes,
it's been almost a year now.
that's right.
And you were performing and you're doing your arranging and working on, right? You're working for
Exactly.
Carnival.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
then what happened? So the
Well,
pandemic, it probably, it changed everything.
let me tell you. I made a choice in 2018.
Mhm.
Um, July 1st was when I officially retired
Okay.
from Carnival Corporation. And a big part of it was because of Barbara, my wife, who's in the other room right now.
Yeah.
She is a native of the country of Croatia. And I wanted to settle down. We wanted to settle down
Right.
and, start a new life. And
Yeah.
now she had been traveling with me since 2016.
You
I
met her.
met her. Yes, I met her in 2014. Um, there's other stories there, but nothing scandalous. I promise. I promise. but but we but in 2016 we committed to each other. I asked her to marry me in 2017, and at the end of 2018, December 22nd, we were married. Um, I'm sure a lot of people have watched the 90 Day Fiance shows. It's real. You really do have 90 days from the point of entry with your K-1 visa
Mhm.
to
Right. I remember.
to get married. And if you don't do that, the visa is invalid and you must go back home. So that is that's a very real thing. So she entered December 6th, and 15 days later, we were married. Just to give you an idea. And she's been here ever since. But um, she got her green card in May of 2019. October 30th, 2019, my son, or our son, I should say, was born. Now, I'm very glad that I took the hunch because had I waited one more year, the pandemic would have happened and we would probably be having a much different discussion today.
Yeah.
So it was important for us both to get our family lives going. So a big part of the immigration um, ways and mandates are to ensure that you, as the U.S. sponsor, you have to be able to support your spouse regardless of what's going on. So, in the beginning, upon you know getting here, of course, I picked up any job that I could until eventually working for Volusia County Schools. So I am currently an elementary school teacher, um, and we'll do that until um, the pandemic lifts. So that'll be me for at least the next 3 years of my life. I think that that's important. Um, when you have a family, um, you've got to make sure that you do what's best for your family. I do play with a group in Miami called the New Deco Ensemble.
Oh.
They are a excellent music group, and a lot of them you probably would know them, Talya. The CEO, or I should say the co-CEOs, are Giacomo Barros and a fellow Trumpet colleague of mine named Samuel Hyken. So
Nice.
they have their group, and they bring in a lot of innovative artists who are out there, with their own missions and making a difference. Some of the musicians will be musicians like Corey Henry from Snarky Puppy. He's been a guest. Jacob Collier is an excellent jazz pianist and singer and multi-instrumentalist. He's collaborated with them. Kimbra would be another great singer from the New Zealand area who just puts out great music. I could go down the list of many other groups. They like to call themselves a genre-bending orchestra, so of course that worked very well with me. I love playing, I love playing different styles of music, and of course stretching ability, stretching my own abilities.
Yeah.
So that was a big, I don't want to say big catch, but that was good to be able to find a
Sure.
a stretch.
You need an outlet. You need to keep performing your chops. You got to keep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do teach as well, students back at home through the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Of course, through the pandemic, we've been doing a lot of Zoom work.
Right. Do you find that hard to teach over Zoom?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you know how it is. Our industry, it's something about that in-person connection.
Yeah.
So whenever you're over Zoom, and a lot of times, you've got people, they stop their videos like this, and it's just like you're hearing them speak.
Connection issue like we're having right now a little bit.
Yes, and it's like, oh, come on. But
I know it's at times it can be hard. Yeah.
But it's important that we find any and every way to help, in particular, the younger generation. It's important that we do that because, right now, I'll quickly go back to my dad real fast. We are where our parents were, and our parents are where our grandparents were. So it's our job to pay it forward. So if I get an opportunity to teach a student, I'm going to do it.
Right.
That's just it.
You gotta do what's good for the fam.
That's right.
Right. Whatever it takes. So that's wonderful. That you're
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure you're a wonderful teacher.
I have fun. I like to.
You from a young age, you just took over the the band leader at a young age. So I'm sure it's very natural for you to step into a teacher role.
Oh man, I love to troll students. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to just mess with a kid.
Yeah.
With their psyche, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of love there. So,
Great.
to see them to do better than what we've done. That's important to me. I guess that's probably the dad in me coming out too.
Yes. Do you still keep in touch with any of your teachers? Like, I know Winton, you studied with him for. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
Yeah, it's the connection's a little unstable.
Yeah, it's a little
The
shoddy.
connection's a little unstable.
Well, not sure what's going on.
Let's see. There might be another way. If how do you but let's see what we've got. I will continue to talk as if it's working okay.
She's not gonna just keep.
But
What did you say? What did you say?
yeah, I saw Mr. Marcellus, the Great Winston, about a year and a half ago. He had a show in the Detroit area, and I was there. So I went to listen, and of course, took a picture, and it was just good to reconnect with him for a little bit. And of course, some of the musicians in the ensemble, because I know some of the musicians there too. And from time to time, I will message him just to see how he's doing, but he's so incredibly busy. And at the time, I was so incredibly busy at the time too, just from a traveling standpoint. So um, if I run into him, it will more than likely be me catching him during one of his during one of his tours if he happens to be in within our area, or close enough for me to make a
Yeah.
50 to 100 mile drive, because I would do that for him. He helped me tremendously with respect to my musicianship. I spoke with my primary private teacher, Mr. Philip Smith, shortly after my dad passed. And I just thought that that was great that he took the time to see how I was doing through difficult times. So for me, and of course, that was important to me too when I was looking for a teacher, was someone who would, um, you know, be, again, step outside of the professional box times. That was important to me.
Yeah.
So for him to do that, I thought that was great. So, and I just, if there's one person I strive to be like, other than my dad, Mr. Smith would be that guy. He just he taught me a lot, and he says he didn't teach me anything, but you know,
All modest.
he taught me everything. So I but so I do keep in contact with them, and um, but what I'm happy for is that I did study with Mr. Alan Dean at Yale, and actually we had a Zoom conference, the Trumpet studio. We had a Zoom conference 2 days ago. So all of his students and the people that I went to school with at that time, we all reconnected on, with life. Some of those people I hadn't seen in over 10 years, so it was good to see them the other day. If there's one good thing about the pandemic, is that it has helped us to reconnect with people that we probably would not have connected with, quite some times, or in some of these cases, even over a decade. So, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I started this little show because I just wanted to check in with other artists to see how they were coping and dealing with this challenging time. And a lot of people I know are not working now or don't have that teacher background and struggling to find ways of making money right now. And I just wanted to highlight people and have them talk about the careers that they've been working on for all these years, and give hope and give, or just feel connection, during this time when it's been just such a challenging time, and it's been a pause for a lot of people to kind of rethink things about their lives and find other things about themselves and skills that they can develop to really make money and support their family, or if they don't have a family, to support themselves. And so it's been an interesting time to connect with people from my past, and from just even people I don't know, just who I admire, and just so it's been such a wonderful experience to do this show, because I get to connect with people that I love and make new connections, and then share these wonderful people with my world and my community and my family and friends. So,
Well, I've
I'd love
enjoyed
that.
this.
Yeah, this has been
I've,
fun.
yeah, I've enjoyed this, and I think it's a good thing, because there are many people looking for an outlet
Yeah,
to discuss the things that they are passionate about.
yeah,
One thing about the arts, as you well know, one of the first things to get cut, or one of the first things to get pushed to the side,
yeah,
is that. But what I always laugh about are the facts that when a lot of people within the corporate industries, Wall Street, etc., lose their jobs or go through moments like this, the people who tend to make it through are the ones like us who can write a song about it.
yeah.
So
Or create a video, as you were telling me, right?
exactly, so there are just so many things. Creativity will never die, no matter how
Yes.
much of a struggle it is there. We
Mhm.
always find a way, and things like what you're doing right now, just helps people to, kind of center themselves or recenter themselves to, remind themselves of what's really important and what, we need to do in order to continue to push forward. One thing I have to say I admire about the sports industry, I love sports.
Hmm.
Um, you're constantly hearing them talk about the great things that they're doing.
Yeah.
They're always networking. They're
Yeah.
always, that's the one industry that will never die
Mm.
because the support that they have for each other is just unprecedented.
Yeah.
So, if there's one thing that our industry can learn from the sports industry, and you're kind of, in so many ways spearheading that now, is to do things like this.
Yes. Yeah. Get creative.
Yeah, gotta do
And speaking of creativity, I know we touched on your love for cooking. And so
it.
before we go, I just want you to share a little bit about the food that you love, the food that you enjoy making, the different influences in your life. The food, just share a dish, share a fun recipe or something. Just quick before we.
well, well, let me give you an example of one thing. My mother, being from the wonderful um, country of the Bahamas,
Yeah.
um, is very big on flavor. So, um, if you're a person that loves to have, you know, um, curry, I would say, if you're a person that loves curry, because there's an Indian curry and there's Caribbean curry. Um, if you love your curry, um, some of the spices that go great with curry would be lime, um, turmeric, uh, ginger, and cinnamon if you want to use that.
Yeah.
That goes very good with coconut. So
Ooh,
coconut and curry, you add that together,
I'm gonna try
season it the
that.
way that you want to do that. Yeah, add, salt and pepper to taste,
Yeah.
garlic and whatever onion if you like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but that's a good base to have. And then you can add, sweet potato goes great with curry.
Yeah.
Carrots go great with it. Potato, of course, but in particular, sweet potato and carrot goes great with that. And then, the rest of it kind of comes and goes as you please. But allspice is good for Jamaican rice.
Yeah.
Allspice is a good,
Uh-huh.
good spice to add with things like that.
Mm.
And so I'm just throwing those things out there. If you want full recipes, we could talk about that.
You're gonna have to
Maybe
send
during
me
the
some.
things. Yeah,
I've
I'll be happy to send
been
you
in the
that.
kitchen this whole last year. I've been becoming a little creative in the kitchen too, so it's been fun.
Yeah,
So yeah, definitely
yeah.
share some of those recipes with me. So that's
I will be happy to do so. but yeah. So anyway, that I think that's a good thing to do. But a lot of times now, I mean, just because of having an infant, well, a toddler now, he's a
yeah,
toddler
he's
now.
getting
Yeah. Um, we a slow cooker is really good to
uh-huh.
have.
Slow
You
cooker.
just you get the food, put it in it at night, go to
Yeah,
sleep, turn it on, wake up, it's ready. You have your lunch, you
that's
go.
it's good to have too. Pressure cooker.
Yes, pressure cookers.
Boom, boom.
That's right. That's right. So, but yeah, like I said, we could talk about that all day long.
Oh yeah,
Yes, I
I'm a
loved.
foodie. You're a foodie. We could talk food.
Yes, yeah.
Huh.
Cheese is my number one weakness.
Oh, cheese. Mm-hmm.
And then you add wine to it.
Oh,
See,
yep.
see,
I'm there with you.
time to get together. Time to hook it
Yeah,
up.
gotta make it happen. We will.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
looking forward to that. Thank
yeah,
you so much, Omar, for coming on tonight.
it was an honor, pleasure.
We'll
And do me
catch
a favor, please. Yeah, before we go, do me a favor. Give my love to your husband, your kids, and your parents.
Oh, I will. I will.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
that.
because
And
we met each other's parents years ago, and
yeah, yeah.
I know you
So
always ask me how they're doing, and it's
yeah,
wonderful.
And your brother as well too, right?
Yes, my brothers. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Good. So,
Thanks, Omar. And love to your family as well. And I'm so glad I got to say hi to them right before our little sesh. So
exactly.
it was
So,
fun. Thank
all
you.
right. Thank you
And
very much.
everybody else for watching. Thank you for joining me this evening. And I wish you all a wonderful week. Until next week, tune in with Talya at 6 p.m. for another wonderful show. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.